Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everybody to One Mic, One Globe. I'm your host, Josh Evans. We have a dynamic lineup this evening. I'm very excited. A little, housekeeping before we begin, although I'm sure most of you already know this. Feel free to light up the chat when poets are reading. Go ahead and put your comments or reactions. And poets, don't forget to check the chat like once you're done. It's always very just warm and empowering. Los Angeles Poet Society is a safe and welcoming place for everyone. So let's just, keep that in mind. But yes, I'm so glad we're all here. I have my list of open micers who will carry us into our features. So once again, for those of you guys who are just getting here, I am Josh. I will kick it off with a poem, and then I'll kick it over to whichever one of my open micers is here. So this is a mom poem, and it's called Mama, We Going. Dear Mama, we're going on that cruise one day. The two of us perusing the mutually calm waters, buoying us in imitation of our souls. It'll be peaceful, like a sunrise, like a second helping after dinner, like a midday nap when nobody is home. The kind of peace that gets lost in speech and evaporates the moment you try to capture it in words. There will be no room for discussing who should have done what, when, and why they did. The now of the cruise will be a bliss of permanent eclipse. We're going to go on that cruise and have the time of our lives, laughing until the yacht medic has to break out her emergency tools because we shrieked and howled our guts onto the floor, and still wouldn't stop laughing. Every square inch of the ship will be our dinner table, a place where organic, intimate conversation can transpire unapologetically at any given moment. Posing as Apple architects, we will build an itinerary of amusement around everything you want to do. And like a marksman with a perfect deck, I promise we won't miss a single one. Unless you want to because you overslept, and that's okay too. On this cruise, your cruise, we will play. Our merriment will be, as C.S. Lewis said, of that kind which exists between people who have from the outset taken each other seriously. No flippancy, no superiority, no presumption. I love the scintillant sparks of your eyes when merriment erupts like fireworks from your soul. Your cruise will be joy on wings like a butterfly in the wind, iconic like Olympian rings lingering long after it ends. This aquacosmic adventure will be a Kirk Franklin gospel song with Winans runs, a B.B. King guitar solo in a blue-lit jazz lounge, spirit aflame, swept up in dancing, smile lines melting new grooves into your cheeks. A theater of prestige where the magic lingers in spite of the passing illusions. This is going to be your cruise, Mama, because you're my mother, because I love you, because you deserve it. Dear Mama, one day we are going on that cruise, and together we will pen in your story's missing chapter. Thank you. Thank you. The horns. All right. Thank you. I appreciate everyone here. Okay, so let me switch to the open mic list. So I've gone first, get the heebie-jeebies out of the way. Go ahead and roll the crinks out of your neck and just enjoy yourself. So let's see, I can't see everyone. Is Margot, Jesse, Rightius, or Daniel here? And
I'm here. Daniel's here.
Boom. Okay. Daniel,
I'm here.
Kick this off. Okay, we'll start off with Daniel. Go for it. Oh, you gotta unmute yourself.
This is a poem called Going Green, in light with the theme of your event tonight. It's called Going Green. Trees make love the way people do. Let me sing you a little song. Our leaves are gonna weave together, branches gonna intertwine. My trunk is getting bigger, my roots digging deeper in the dark. Going green. If you leave the two of us alone together, pretty soon you're gonna have a park. Going green. Trees love to bloom and flower. It's what gives them the power to make the world a better place. Bees and flowers do it at all hours, call it their saving grace. Going green. The force that drives the green fuse through the bower, plankton into overload, carbon dioxide, photosynthesis, banging out the hours, my brain's gonna explode. I love to watch Whitman's creeps. I love to watch Whitman's leaves of grass germinate, creeping rhizomes. I love to while away the hours watching the green grass grow. Going green. A couple of plants for breakfast, lunch, and dinner is all that you really need. Each one of us is really very lucky. Inside of us, we carry the seed or egg. Going green. Some say it all started in a garden back when the world was young. Eve said to her darling little angel, "Hey Adam, let's have some fun. Plant my seed, going green. Let's do it the way plants and trees do it. Sweet and long and slow. Letting my garden grow. Make it last all night. Let's do it every single hour. Honey, let your feelings show. Plant my seed, going green. Let me be your jolly bee. Dust your stamen with my pollen. Bearing fruit is part of their charm. Plants are kind of like a doctor. They promise to do no harm. Honey flower, let's go back to the farm. Do no harm, going green.
Yes, thank you for that. I love that.
Thanks,
Okay.
guys.
Appreciate you sharing. Okay, next, Jesse, why don't you go ahead and take it, brother?
Alrighty, well, thanks, Josh. I appreciate this. I'm glad to be part of this event. So what I'm gonna be reading for you guys tonight is part play, part poem. The topic of this poem is about how a mega church will split, and this happens a lot in churches where churches split. Other churches form from people that are just tired of how things are going. So the name of this poem is Kingdom Fall Down, and for this poem I'm gonna have, is Brandon here?
Yeah, I'm here, man.
Oh, thanks. So my friend Brandon is gonna help me read this poem, especially the play part. So I'm gonna kick it off. So this poem is called Kingdom Fall Down, based on a true story. The following occurred at Pastor Chuck's office months after Pastor Chuck was spotted at a liquor store.
What are you
Brandon,
guys doing? What are you guys doing here? I know what this is. It's an intervention.
It's man conference, right?
Okay, is this about me getting spicy tomato juice at the liquor store?
Clamato?
You know what? You've done enough talking behind my back. It's my turn to talk. What I buy at any store is my issue. So screw you, screw you, screw you, screw you, screw you, screw you, and screw this intervention.
This is not an intervention. We're just reading this dog here because it's hot out.
What does it say?
It says you're a big freaking alcoholic.
Yeah, well, you know what? I own the name. I own your campus buildings. So if you want to play games, none of you are welcome here ever again.
If this is okay, then I'm in the sunset. The following occurred the day after at the megachurch. Pastor Chuck tells the congregation silver vodka was in the bag for his son TJ to minister to his cancerous mother. TJ once said, "This is for my grandmother." Because PC uses the mission to pull heartstrings, Pastor Darrell viciously called out PC with the former leadership pastor's encouragement to handle it. Ushers Obed and Ted escorted Darrell out of church, pushed his wife Hasley, and Darrell pushed Ted. Obed pushed Darrell. Churchgoers cried in shock and rage. PC hasn't stepped down, but he kicked out Darrell and Hasley. On this day, a mega church has fallen. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Jesse. That's cool. I love the creativity bouncing between two people. And I agree, that poem does work really well with two people. Thank you, Jesse. All right, is Righty is here? I only know your Instagram handle. I did not see anyone named Rightius. No. And okay, no Rightius. Margot, are you here? Margot?
Yes, yeah. Hi.
Hi, hello.
Hello, nice to see you after
Yeah.
being in touch on Instagram. I have to just pull this up. I wasn't sure when I was going to be on. Give me
No.
1 second. Okay, I should have it right here. Here we go. Okay. And I guess I should turn my camera on. So let me see that. Sorry. Here we go. How's that? Is that good?
That is
Okay, It's a
magnificent.
bit dark. Okay. Okay, here we go. All right, so I've been very grumpy and about everything that's happening. So as I was taking a walk one day, I thought, I'm not going to invite that person to my funeral. So I created a poem that's a work in progress. It's called Not Invited to My Funeral. My sister-in-law on the other side, her white boots. Mean young man at grocery store checkout. Driver in white truck tailgating on intersection of Route 12 and 101 101 going north. Teenage student flipping me off in class. Man complaining that none of the staff in McDonald's speaks English. Facebookers who post and don't react to anyone else's. People who play devil's advocate and say it. People who say I'm only joking when they make a racist comment. People who think Jew means Zionist. People who put XYZ after LGBTQ. People whose first thought of the morning is cheerful. People who say I'm worried about so-and-so when they mean themselves. People who say I don't worry about getting cancer. People who do get cancer and call it a gift. People who don't have digestive problems. People who remember where they left their keys. People who don't complain about drafts. People who don't complain about rock music in restaurants. People who don't complain. Parents who lie. Teachers who lie. People who say I hate children. People who say their books write themselves. Me.
Ooh, you gotta warn us before you drop something on us like that. Wow, thank you. That was magnificent.
Thank you.
I really
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We are off to a rousing start this evening. I am so excited. We have one more. Mauricio, are you still here ready to read?
I'm right here.
Awesome.
Evening, everyone. It's good to be here. I have one poem. It's called Something Borrowed. We don't own our trauma, child. We get to hold it for a while, feed it bread and water, brush its coat, let it roll around in the grass. Our trauma may grow into a mole, burrow deep into our bodies, creating roads and tunnels under our skin, paths leading us back to the child we left stranded. Our trauma may grow wings and beaks, spread its wings and fly to foreign forests, sing songs into red skies, calling for our voices to sing in unison, filling the sky with soundtracks of their callings, cacophonies of our curses. Our trauma can manifest into a wolf, traveling heavy in packs, never settling on one prairie, hunting, foraging, howling together, finding other lone wolves along the path, leaving their marks on every field of snow. Our trauma can grow hard exteriors like sea turtles or armadillos, diamond skin that won't let blades penetrate your soft interior. Our trauma takes many shapes and may transform our bodies, but we don't own our trauma, mijo. Just as your ancestors granted you gifts, love, and life, so too did they pour trauma into you. For water cannot transform to dirt without lava, and forests cannot grow without hurricanes, uncaring winds, unforgiving floods that strip away your foundation, water down your values, dilute your essence. Once your trauma has evolved, release it and grow, mijo. Our trauma is something borrowed, something you must return. Thank you all.
Our trauma is something borrowed, something you must return. I have actual chills right now. That was beautiful. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. I really do have chills. Wow. Okay. I was not. Wow. Okay. So Righty is I'm not sure what's happening with the video, but are you able to at least turn on your audio? Sorry, I clicked the wrong person. Are you able to turn on your audio to read?
Oh,
Righty is Abraham. I saw you click. Yeah, we are having some minor Zoom complications, which at this point, we all know how it goes. Okay, so we will go into our feature, our first feature, and then Abraham, if you're able to at least unmute, just message me, and then we'll put you in later. Okay, welcome to the premiere event of our features. Let's give some more snaps for our open micers. Thank you all for just putting your heart out there, sharing your words. That was really, y'all set the tone. Like, I'm just here to kind of like keep things going along, but you all set the tone. So our first poet tonight is going to be Poet Astrid. Also, I will be completely candid. I sometimes can't read calendars very well. And so I told all of my open micers that the last Thursday of the month was last week. So I have already apologized, but I apologize again. And thank you all for rolling with me and accepting my correction messages. We're going to start with Astrid. I'm going to read her bio and then invite her to the virtual stage. Astrid is a Salvadoran American poet and journalist based in Los Angeles. She earned a bachelor's degree in business administration from California State University, Dominguez Hills. Here, she was captain of the slam poetry team and president of the poetry club Flow. Astrid has since become a beacon in LA's writing community, shining through with her annual showcase, Talk That Shit, while having highly esteemed featured performances at Take the Mic, Unplugged LA, Selah Arts Festival, and LitFest Pasadena, just to name a few. She lives in Long Beach and continues to share her editorial voice at LA Taco, an independent press covering the native Los Angeles community. Her work has also been featured at Viva la Mujer and Cultural Weekly. Poet Astrid will be sharing her heart with us today. Astrid, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here. So thank you, LA Poet Society, for having me back. Yeah, let's get into it. This first poem is titled 1111. Today, I choose myself. I will be a healed woman who smiles in the mirror as a reminder. My hips will dance to a rhythm of hope. Trust my body is safe. Believe it is beautiful, like a dove released from its cage. I will climb out of bed on the mornings I am crumbling. Thank myself for a new day. Celebrate the 3 steps forward after 2 steps back, because there is always 1 step still worth appreciating. There is a magenta sunset waiting, and this is a sign to see it. Progress is laughter after an insult, a deep breath before a meltdown, the fight during a flight response. I'm a shooting star fluorescent in the sky, and when I crash, I will land on Venus, rising beyond Aphrodite dreams. The indigo child rebirthed from the sea, flying on the back of a swan's wings. I will close my eyes, feel my hair blowing in the wind, cry rivers to cleanse my spirit. The rose within me will rise from ashes to ashes, dust to dust, through the soil in my skin for earth to see. The oracle in my sun, the gaze in my moon. From this day forward, I promise to have and hold myself whole. Thank you. So for those of you that are familiar with numerology, 1111 signifies new beginnings. So that's why you tend to see that number everywhere, or they say make a wish because you want something new to happen, something new to be birthed in your life. And yeah, I just wanted to open that up for you guys before I get into the next poem. and just kind of talk to you guys a little bit about my book. So for those of you that don't know, I have a book that came out in November titled Through the Soil in My Skin. It's my first and only poetry book. So all of the poems that you are going to hear tonight are going to be from this collection here. Right. So my book is basically a very personal and vulnerable journey of my love life. And so the start of the book walks you through the first time I fell in love, and then what it was like for me to get into dating. And dating, for those of you who are single or remember being single, sucks. Dating is not very fun as you're trying to navigate and find your person. And so I went through a lot as I was discovering who I was and what I wanted and what I didn't want. And one of the things I learned through that process and through therapy was that I was trying to fill a void in my life. And that void was me not having a relationship with my biological father. And so as a result, I was trying to find this love through other people. And so I wanted to write a poem that really commemorated that. And so I wrote this poem titled Confessions of a Lost Child. I seek lost men because I'm insecure. The alcohol teaches me to swim in my own sweat, to flirt only using body. But tonight's music is sex, and when a boy named mine is the mouth I crave, two lovers become lost dancing in sync. Just us below, sunset strobe lights, a closeness we run to, tongues crashing, honeydew saliva, draining strings and a foggy kiss. Before therapy, I resented my dad through a hollow man. My father's lesson for leaving me as a child taught me sorrow, made me groan while my friends learned to play fantasy, often speaking of their fathers in a tone of hero, a false understanding. At the drawing table once, a boy shared he was empty while we colored chaos, standard trauma, but he was open, talked splitting days with parents like cutting red popsicles rationed amongst siblings. It's my turn. And when words switchblade to dad, I heard innocence turn into questions. Where's your dad? Is he at work? I grew uneasy. I shrugged it off. Well, I don't know him. Our table silent, as grief is agony not meant for kids. Feelings I learned for bearing with necessity to protect a lost girl. I'm still searching through sharp thorns, pretending to be men. I keep begging for understanding. The reason I squeeze roses until I see blood, old wounds, callous scars, when the truth is I accept all of it. The hurt I'm rooted in from abandonment, accustomed to heartache. And that's that poem. So as I mentioned, my book is pretty much walking you through this whole journey in a chronological sense. So once I figure out where a lot of my karmic cycles were stemming from, now came the healing. And as a lot of us know, healing is not linear. Healing does not progress at a steady rate. Oftentimes you're going to find yourself backtracking before you get to a place of real progress. And I was struggling to document that and to really show that in such an honest way. So I wrote 4 poems, and then my editor was like, fuck it, let's just make it all one big poem. So here is a 4-part poem titled Yearn for Love. 1. Every man I tried to love was a dream state, appearing as the soulmate I prayed for. I know it's all part of his script, yet here I am, mirroring his hurt, running and chasing until we crash our bodies into the iceberg of our differences. We break apart, sinking our potential, and I tell myself, I knew this would happen. He then freezes in my memory, forcing me to let go, fading into oblivion. 2, I am dreaming of a man who does not see me. He only thinks of me when he needs my ear, my mouth, my hand. I give him body parts, hoping for his heart to cup safely like a bird with a broken wing. I give and give and give and give until I am a rag doll, left to stitch myself back together. 3, I don't know real love, how it is painted on canvas, splattered into a mess we call bold, brilliant. God, I am begging, save me. Give me what I'm searching for. I am tired of running into different parts of my body. It has run out of space. Cries through the ache, says, I know I deserve better. Give me the strength to believe love exists. I'm willing, please, I can't take this anymore. I'm ready to let the universe catch me. Trust fall in a puddle of pink clouds, no more pain, no more trauma. I'll watch it vanish in the same way men become ghosts. Let it all go like the first time I ran across a tall field, flew a paper kite above park trees, watched the past crumble in my palms, clench it in a tight fist. Leave it up to me. It's in my hands now. 4, I see the parts of me that still linger, how they slow me down, how my mind has welcomed them. We don't always break patterns just because we want to. They become habits gifted in their return. My body doesn't even trust me anymore. It is afraid, wanting to protect me in ways I've failed before. I hope my body knows I'm sorry. I've been longing its forgiveness, praying for its peace, conjuring my inner child spirit we both buried long ago. I love my body. At the very least, I hope it knows this, if nothing else. Thank you. Woo. So the book is kind of heavy. It's, like I said, it's very personal and very vulnerable as my own journey. But I really felt like it was important to share with people, just because as I was sharing performance pieces throughout the years, I just came to realize that so many people could relate to what I was going through. And there's so many people who need love in their life, and we don't always make the connection between the love we didn't receive as kids from either parent, or maybe the love we lacked that affects the way that we try to love and manifest into other areas of our lives. And so I was really hoping to have the reader take away just true clarity by the end of this book. But as I was writing the book myself, I was also learning more and more about me. Healing never stops. It's an ongoing process. And so one of the things I came to realize that I really needed to do was mourn my father. He was not in my life, so I never associated him not being there with death, but it is still a loss. And I needed to document that for myself and to release it and put it out in the world. So I wrote this poem titled, Goodest Grief is a Red Rose. Since birth, I filled my grief with my father's shadow. It's molded me into the emptiness of adulthood where I can't recognize a life apart. To call on grief by its name is to face the unknown half of myself, a tenderness quivering inside the tomb of my body that howls at the moon. She echoes silence. I want to scream, but stop at my throat thinking about the photo albums we could have pieced together, the unlocked character I never uncovered but will always revel in all its mystery. How nostalgia does not exist to hold me when I need it most. How I will never know your face, the lineage tied to your last name or a third language to teach my children. Someday, they will gather around my bed, listen to broken details about you and the stories that began in spite of you. They will wonder how the silhouette of a parent could shape a child, and I will tell them you were the dirt who bloomed me into a bed of red roses, where I built their loving, protective home. All right. How are we doing on time?
Very well. You have like 7 minutes.
Okay, cool. I just have a couple more poems for you guys. So towards the end of the book, I really wanted to be intentional about not only giving myself hope, but the reader hope. I didn't want to end this chapter of my life and for someone else who may need these messages to end on a sad note. And so I kind of found myself in this place where, yes, I was healing and I was spending a lot of time by myself to really reflect, but I was losing faith in love, and I was starting to forget how special it is and how much I looked forward to it. And so I really needed to reimagine what that looked like for me, because even when I would see examples around me, it wasn't necessarily what I wanted. So I wrote this poem titled Daydreams of a Hopeless Romantic. I can't help but think it happens, just not for me. I will grow old, no husband, no grandchildren. I'll be a chain link fence too difficult to climb. But they say the right one will come someday, and each hour I shrink in my hope. I have been taught I am my safest bet, and to find someone worthy is a needle in a haystack. Even when you win, you still expect to lose, and I refuse to be a penny rusty at the bottom of a fountain again. But I fear this is how it will end, that I won't break the cycle, and this happy ending alone won't be good enough. I want real love, a love that consumes me each morning. The sun rises golden through my bedroom window, where every day is an eternal kaleidoscope. May this love focus wandering eyes. May this love feed hungry souls across the lifetimes we travel to find each other. A love that brings us peace after a stressful workday. Let this love give me a home to believe in, a fireplace to praise, somebody who brings me warm soup when I'm sick, who gives me a hug and kiss after an argument. I am ready to receive a dozen roses because it's Monday. I am worthy of a diamond ring without conditions. I deserve all of it. I deserve all of it. Thank y'all. I can't read everything, but I see you guys. I appreciate the love and support. Thank you so much. And once again, thank you to LA Poet Society for having me here today. I really appreciate everyone who tuned in. You guys could have been anywhere, but you're here with me right now. So thank you all so much. I'm just gonna leave you with one last poem and one last little sermon of mine. So I knew that this poem needed to end in a way that felt right for where I was at the time in my life, or not this poem, this book. I was in a really great place, and I was very happy and content with myself and the way things were going, all the progress I had made, especially when I reached the end of this book. I could look back on so much and how far I've come. And my editor pointed out to me that I had wrote so many love poems for so many people, but I never wrote one to myself. So before I leave you all today, I encourage everyone to go home and write yourself a love poem, because it literally changed my life. So this poem is titled Ode to Astrid. I want to write a poem for the women who smoke blunts in their Honda coupe, gift themselves another hit for surviving a 9-to-5, turn up the bass when Young Thug earthquakes at a red light, then wave goodbye outside your window when the light turns green, teasing men to chase your taillights. I want to write a poem for the women who let their hair grow like an untamed lawn in a wealthy neighborhood, who still wear a white tank top and a mini skirt, flaunting bladed grass on pits and legs dewy by dawn. Show off the beauty in your golden hour shadow, the rose bush of eyebrows you bloomed all year, a tall field guarding your labia from intruders. I want to write a poem for the women who don't show emotion, numb themselves blue, who have to run inside a bathroom stall to cry, the strong women loaning themselves a rock before landsliding apart. I want to write a poem for the rude woman scolding a drunk man that grabbed her friend at a bar, who cusses like it's her love language, does not apologize for the sake of peace. You are the hammer of every glass ceiling, the roar of women who did not make it home, a threat to small men turning to stone when they see a free woman. Thank you all.
Yes, yes, yes.
Those are dope pieces. I
Thank
like.
you. Thank you so much. And you guys can also follow me. I'll put my info on the chat at Poet Astrid. I'm also issuing signed books right now. So if you purchase a copy from my website, I'll sign it for you before I mail it out. So yeah, you guys can hit me up if you have any feedback for me or if you have any questions, advice on anything, I'm here to help.
Fantastic. Yes. Yes, please drop your information in the chat. Please read the chat when you get a chance. That was magnificent.
Thank you.
So warm and inspirational. I was like, oh, I didn't realize we were getting like a full like sermons like in between, but it worked. That was really, really great.
Thank you. Thanks everyone.
Thank you. So yeah, put your information in. Everyone follow her, purchase. This independent artist life doesn't pay much. So we got to support each other. We keep us going. Yeah, really beautiful. We're off to a great start. All right, coming up next to the stage, and read her bio. Is Ali Blanco. Ali Blanco is a queer Latinx writer and performer. She hosts various artistic events and shows and aims to be a supportive, hype woman with the X extraordinaire. Mother, student, teacher, and human rights activist, her poetry often consists of themes in mental health and intersectional identity. Her poetry collection, If Words Could Talk, can be purchased on Amazon. I'm sure she will. Wow. Please. I don't know if y'all can hear the horns just broke into my bio read. I'm sure she'll drop the link to that later, but my distinguished guest, let us welcome Ali Blanco to the digital stage. You're muted.
Sorry. Okay, I was like, wow, my face just got really big. I don't know what to do. Okay, hello, thank you. Yes, this is my book, If Words Could Talk. I'm not going to read from it today because it is like a heavier collection, but this is what it is. I'm going to read some other stuff today. Wow, it really feels weird when it's just me, but that's okay. Okay, I'm going to start with a heavier piece, and then I am going to do a couple lighter pieces. Also, I wrote a love letter to myself, and I wasn't planning to read it, but now I just feel the whole ass vibe, so I'm going to read that too. And I'm excited, and yay for inspiring each other. And also, I'm very blind, so I'm going to move this microphone close to my face. Okay.
If you're having if you being big is throwing you off, you can change your view to gallery in the top right corner if you want.
It's all good. Okay. All right. This is called Depression is a Man. You know that I am on a mission to eliminate pronouns and gender stereotypes, so I hope you'll forgive me to say this, but I think that depression must be a man. Depression is like this narcissistic king who demands servitude, who mercilessly punishes disloyalty, leaves me in a bedroom that's too small, in a house that's too big, manipulates the sun so that it's like threatening, intimidating, turns the moon so that it casts these suffocating shadows in a whispering dark. Time becomes abusive. Depression hits like my ex, backhanded slaps across my face, lip busted again and again until I say sorry, until I wonder, why did I fight back? I'm not strong enough. I'm empty without him. He knows the effective power of a chokehold, makes a game of constricting airways, of withholding oxygen, watching my feet kick life and death, breathing in between the clutches of his grip. I still panic in the hallway. Depression aims below the belt and above the belt. He is the belt, tightly squeezes a waistline into my abdomen, stifling discomfort so that I can't eat. Nausea is a constant, a cause and effect of hunger pains, of pains untraceable. I have to get away. I sold my house and divorced my ex, but he still has visitation. Like, how can I find tranquility when depression and I share custody? I close my eyes and breathe. He has no power over me. I love you and I wish you peace. When depression bangs on my door on Christmas morning, I inhale, giving thanks to the lungs that still work for me. I still love you. You are worthy. Depression attacks, seeking a reaction, hoping to spar, to demonstrate strength. I exhale, appreciating the heart that continued to beat. I will always love you. You will outlast. Dear depression, your violence is not courage, and my fear is not weakness. Standing tall over a limp body does not make you a winner. You have existed this long because you siphoned my blood, but I have existed this long because I can bleed and heal and grow while you are confined to a moment. Happy Independence Day to me. I proceed to breathe. Thank you. I'm sorry. I forgive you. I love you. That's that piece. All right. Also, shout out to the comment about dating sucks. And so I wrote this kind of after a realization about how it's not just dating, but like this whole hookup culture. And some of us benefited from it for a long time, but had a conversation about the meaninglessness of it. And then I wrote a poem about it. So this is called Love Belongs to the Afternoons. I know how to get attention. Make a game between lip and the tip of tongue, pour me another. I can win this staring contest, pull you into the dark. You'll think you meant to come here. I expose neck and shoulder blade in such a way as to sharpen fangs, make you rush to bite. I could dance close, moving in so that you want to take me home, want to feel the curves beneath clothes. I could finish a drink before it gets warm, quiets the inhibitions that would keep me from leaving with you. I know how to slip out. Hunt for my car between the hours of 3 to 5 a.m. Find my water bottle waiting for me in the front seat. Siri is faithful, always navigates me home, and never with a judgmental tone, doesn't scold me, doesn't keep score. I can say, this was fun, but I'm alone in my seat, so there's no need to lie. I could slide, silent as the sunrise, back into my burrow, bury my face beneath a coffin of pillows, let time exist without me. I know how to release expectations, live without conditions. The city is dirty by daylight. Noon is the hour of planning, people arranged at tables, desiring midday connections. It takes more effort to meet beneath the sun. The flashing lights of last night are gone. I could phone a friend and join a brunch party, share stories of strangers whose love from dusk until dawn. We smile and toast to being fools in lust, eating and ignoring the hunger, wishing we could sip with yesterday's passion, wishing we weren't so carelessly dispensable. I could pretend that I prefer it this way. Declare that love belongs to others, that love belongs to the afternoons. We pass empty bottles of salt across the table and agree that love doesn't live in the last call. And that's that piece. And I'm gonna close that. So I'm gonna read a couple from my next poetry collection, which is going to be called Love in the Time of Corona. It's not done yet, but this is my love letter to myself. It's called Swan Lake was initially a failure based off of like the Swan Lake play, because in real life, it didn't become a success right away. All right. 5, 6, 7, 8. She will forgive you. She will stitch the hurts that she wears, and she will turn to you with a friendly face. And if she cannot, then I will forgive you. Prima ballerina, for so long you have maintained your poised position. The kitchen table has become your bar, your foot perched, flexed upon the top, isometric strain. The will to remain makes you shake, but you hold and hold. Take a breath. 5, 6, 7, 8. She will forgive you. She will exist in her truth until yours is no longer causing her discomfort. She will accept your world or else be lost to it. But my darling, for an eternity, you have strained and stretched, contorted with graceful elegance. You have perfected the plie. You have proven that you can withstand in picturesque agony for an extended period, knees bent, toes arched, breathing through every drop of seasoned sweat that falls, well basted in melting imagery and expectations. The knives are sharpened as you serve yourself upon the table as the main course. Releve and return to your feet. The twisted fingers of gravity have been clinging sharply, clutching at your collarbones, ceaselessly attempting to crumble the pillars, strangling weights, attempting to break your decorum, but you hold. Control. Shoulders back, neck long, balancing spinning plates upon high cheekbones, pirouette and let the dishes fall. I will not permit you to be feasted upon today. The burning in your chest will not consume you, but rather forge a vessel with which to express yourself. You are allowed to feel. You have been trained to grit your teeth against the outcry, to silently, aesthetically endure in perfect form, but this is not my wish for you any longer. 5, 6, 7, 8. You will forgive you for believing that you were insufficient, that polish is strength, is pain, for coveting this marbleized statue of David, for being such a vicious self-sculptor, determined to recapture this classic beauty that they told you to be, that they told you you were, for marinating in comments while being garnished, for being the dinner and the show, dearest. Those many years of conditioning have readied your body for such a miraculous debut. Show the world what spending time crafting talent can do. I'm here for you. 5, 6, 7, 8, grand jeté, and leap from the stage offshore to your next stone. You can stay on this rock for as long as you need to. All the pressure remains in the past. You are safe here. Breathe and release. You are not doomed to repeat tragic mistakes. Follow this path across the water. You are better than your coach has claimed, wiser than your last failure. You are not obligated to a timetable, nor are you a meal. Do not move until you are ready to do so. Up until now, this story has lacked a leader. Close your eyes and repeat after me. I am hero material. And even if I get no applause, I am valuable. Step away from the last act. Assume your new stance. And although you may be tempted to, don't look back. But if your thoughts do wander in reverse, pardon yourself for that too. Separating from our instruction is not an easy thing to do. You are not stranded alone in this pause. Hold my hand, and we can dance in forgiveness together. I love you. You will love you too. You can be both swan princesses. I believe in you. All right, and that was that piece. Thank you. This one. Okay, so in my book, in this book, there's a poem called The Sweater. And this poem is called The Sweater Part 2. And it's kind of like the continuation. And I didn't look at the time when I started. So either this will be my last one or it won't. I don't know. I'm just going to keep reading. That's fine. Okay. I don't wear white because it reminds me of weddings. It's too holy and it doesn't match with my sin, but I'm wearing white today anyway, trying to be careful all the while, waiting for drops of blood to adorn the stitching like lace. The Sweater, Part 2. To the person who finds this sweater, don't shed tears for me. I have none to spare for myself after all. Parting with this pullover was not an easy feat, but knowing that these sleeves can bring warmth to another gives me comfort. This story is still unfolding for me. I cannot know what joys my future will bring, but I hope for you to experience the happiest of days. Hug the one you love, not carelessly as if you will see them again tomorrow. Really wrap your fleece around their body as if for the last time. Don't wait for goodbye. I wish we had had more time. I wish that I had not wasted seconds discussing the mundane, the day to day. There was so much more to say. I would have admitted that I am a great pretender, that I work continuously to find outlets for my insecurities. Pretending to love yourself is tiring, but I'm told that self-confidence is a desirable quality, so I act casually when they say they love me, when in reality I adapt personalities to ensure that I am who they think they love. I love you. Of course you do. I'm exactly who you want me to be. Put on this sweater and flaunt your most authentic self. Feel protected within the softness of the stitching. Know that we too are weaved of the finest materials. I wish we had met in another time. I wish that you could have seen me when I felt safe in my own skin. Maybe I could have really loved, decidedly, unapologetically, unafraid. I pray that wearing this layer makes you brave, brave enough to retreat within the fabric and really examine yourself. Let this hoodie be a homely shell in which you can tuck into. Let the self that you discover within reemerge, grace the world with your honesty, know your truth, and be courageous enough to allow others to be reintroduced to. Tell the one you love. Not routinely as if the words are commonplace. Listen to the kisses that whisper. Appreciate the adoration wrinkled into the cracks of the face staring back. I wish that we had not expired. I wish that I had looked at the price tag more carefully, searched for signs that I was to be left holding the bag, left holding the sweatshirt, the reminder. Seeing the hidden remains of this garment buried at the bottom of my drawer was a daunting memento of your disappearance, that I am easily forgotten. I hope that this jumper smells of a fresh start, that the cloth can be a cozy tea time companion. I hope that the pockets are large enough to hold your most beloved book, although I've never been able to choose only one. I was careful not to taint this warmer with my red lipstick, but you needn't be. Every stain is a memory, and if it can't be removed, then let it be cherished. Dandelion grass makes the best bed after all, and a familiar sweater the best blanket. So take the trip and eat the cake and embrace the new. Breathe, heal, feel. Our lives are connected by thread and drawstring. You are not alone. Store shelves are full of clothes and items and used to be favorites, each textile a story, a fool on a quest of love. So don't cry for me. I am not the first to be swaddled by the wrong heart, nor the last. And I haven't completely given up on this shopping game yet. Sincerely, this sweater in the summer. And that's that. So yeah, my time's probably up because I write long ass poems.
Yeah, you were till like about 8. So if you have a short one that you want to do, you can. If you want to bow out now, you can do that too.
I'll happily bow out now. I'm gonna hold this up. I don't know how to drop links. I don't know about these technology things that people do these days, but this is my book, and you can go to my IG page with it, which is author.ali.blanco. And there's a link there to Amazon, or you can get one from me because I have like 5 here that I could send out a little cheaper than Amazon does. But so yes, that's my link drop.
No worries. I just put all the features and their Instagram links in the chat. So if you want to follow her, please do. Buy a book, support.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for hosting. Thank you for
Oh,
holding
of
this
course.
space. I super appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you. Wow. Yeah, that was riveting, honestly. Just completely riveting and entrancing. Yeah, at this point, I'm just like, when do I get paid? Because I kind of want to buy both books that I've heard so far. This is great. Okay, so I put the Instagram links of all the features, including the first 2, in the chat. I'll do that again later on. Okay, so we're gonna take a brief pause and go back to a couple open micers. Usually we don't do this, at least during my tenure on this. I like to do the open mics at the beginning, but for those of you here, you know we had a little mix up. So we will do Abraham, and then we have one other reader. So Abraham, go ahead and take the stage.
Yes, hey, Josh. It's good to meet you virtually.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm out here in California myself in Long Beach.
Oh, snap.
So-
Not that far away, brother.
Yeah, so maybe one of these days when there's some in-person things going on in LA, wherever you guys are doing it in LA, I can hit them up.
Yeah.
Depending on the time and stuff, if it's early enough in the day.
Right.
So yeah, actually I got to perform on the space maybe about 2 Saturdays ago when Jessica was hosting, and there was 4 other performers at the time. So
Okay.
great space to be in. Looking forward to possibly, submitting some things to this platform for publication.
Do it.
I got 2 brief pieces. I shouldn't go any more than about maybe 2 minutes at the most. So this one, and these were themes that I did on another open mic a couple of weeks ago, where we had to talk about what's in the box. So this one is called Coffin Box. Dead bodies inside a coffin box, cold, stiff, more solid than rocks. I've kissed my fair share of hard heads, permanently lying in their resting beds, before they were taken off to the cemetery for a last ride underground to be buried, only to have their flesh eaten for supper, bones stripped of meat by the vultures, leaving nothing to the dead imagination of skeletal remains in their habitation, a coffin box housing a once living being whose life had either a good or bad meaning, but now the only thing that is left is memories of how they looked before death, the quality of their character being good or bad, the expression of their faces, be it happy or sad. One thing is definitely certain for sure: recollections of the dead will eternally endure, so long as loved ones mention their names, whether their existence brought forth joy or pain, because unlike bodies, memories cannot be locked, never to be released from the coffin box. And I share one more, a better piece than death. This one is called Words of Wealth. Inside of this treasure box, we will find words of wealth with an abundance of nutrients essential for our holistic health. These words are brighter than the sun, have more carats than gold, give you more energy than solar, keep you young, never getting old. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness is what we desire most in life. Faithfulness, goodness, gentleness, self-control, fruits from the Holy Spirit of Jesus Christ. Justice will come out with a ready smile to serve the righteous by punishing the evil. Hand out equity with hugs and kisses. Shift the balance of power to the people. Liberty and happiness will exchange vows. Send us invitations to their revolutionary wedding. Front row seats to watch them tie the knot. Dance with freedom in this radically romantic setting. Here inside this lovely treasure box, our lives were drastically changed for the better, healed inside and out by these golden words, prepared at the table for us to eat together in pieces.
Thank you, Brother Abraham. Appreciate that. I just realized I did not spotlight you. My extreme apologies.
It's all right. Well, if you guys want to check out some of my stuff, I post as often as I can. You can find me on Instagram at The Righteous Poet, spelled WRITEOUS. And I'm going to check some of you guys out as well. So
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it, man. I just realized I am teacher brain because I was like, righteous. It's a play on words because you're a poet.
Mm-hmm.
I got it. Okay, I'm there now. Sometimes it takes me a long time to get there, but I do get there. Thanks, man. Please put your social media links in the chat for people to be able to check you out. Appreciate you. And I apologize if I butcher this, Mr. Tezazomak.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
I'd like to do a short poem and a song.
Sure. Cool. We got a couple minutes.
All right, so this piece is titled Semiotic Destructuring. We really can't close ourselves up. Even if we want to break away, we're trapped between the neurosis and anxiety of the open system. By design, we regularly exchange feedback with our external environment. The epitome of the open system is that we skate the libidinal exo-endo full spectrum exchange of deficits versus surpluses. Trepidate the unthrottled sensory inputs, processes, goals, assessments, and isolated by the equifinality of the selective epidermal boundary. Evolutionary psychology has shed the revolution and settled for the therapeutics, mostly on the nature of nonviolent violence via Freud's linguistic castration. The destructuring, Derridian semiotics and its slippery slippage between the real and the symbolic collapses in either neurosis or anxiety. Abandoning the archaeology of violence weakens the structure of semantic chaining and the desiring corpse, signaling that structure subjectivity as chain as the shadow of language. The phenomenology of lack as the byproduct of dialectic recognition wages emancipation against the closure and finitude of language. The transcendentalization of the familiar Western Oedipal structure provides a very reductive feel of social and cultural identities, merely wrapping the gynocentrism and the prosthetic vaginal labia of the impotent discourses of phallogocentrism just won't do. In the expected struggle for recognition of differences, in the revolt for equality, the subject falls for the paradox of the Trojan horse of identity. If all differences are equal, then there is no difference. Okay. Here we go. And you remember the time that have held your head high, told all your friends of your Indian claim, proud lady, proud good man, some great grandfather from Indian blood sprang, and you feel in your heart these ones. Oh, it's written in books and in songs that we've been mistreated and wrong. Well, over and over I hear those same words from you, good lady, you good man. Well, listen to me if you care where we stand, and you feel you're a part of these ones. When a war between nations is lost, the loser we know pays them cost. But even when Germany fell to your hand, consider, dear lady, consider, dear man, you left them pride and you left them their land. And what have you done to these ones? Has a change come about, Uncle Sam? Or are you still taking our land? A treaty for George Washington signed. He did, dear lady, they do, dear man. And treaties being broken by kings so damn. And what will you do for these ones? Oh, it's all past, you can say, but it's still going on here today. It's now on the Iroquois land, that of the Seneca and the Cheyenne. It's here and it's now, you can help us, dear man, now that the buffalo are gone. That's cover my adaptation of Yves Saint Marie's Now That the Buffalo's Gone.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
You hold the distinction being the first person to bring music onto the scene since I took over One Mic, One Globe. And thank you for your poem too. I was like, oh, he brought the vocabulary today. Okay, okay.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. All right, my friends, go ahead and repost. You want to follow any of the features, just drop that back in the chat. I'll be doing that probably 2 more times. And coming up next to the stage is someone who melts my face off every time I hear her read. Peacock Secrets. I'm gonna go ahead and read her bio in her own words and then give it over to her. I don't need to say anything else. I never thought I'd be a poet. At Duke University, I studied nature's beauty and earned a master's degree. Being a young biologist was fun. Cave exploring, snorkeling, scuba diving, windsurfing, keeping butterflies, all while wearing my full Islamic regalia. Shout out to my 100% hijabis. Meanwhile, I traveled for 14 years. Egypt, Dubai, Bermuda. Travel enamored me with language, literature, and art. But eventually, health problems caught up with me. Injuries from family violence, child abuse. My new health status meant more time in stillness, solitude. Blessedly, that unburied my lifelong passions, dance, poetry, and any means of speaking up for the little girl who went unheard. I'm becoming an author and poetess. My life's eclectic elements merged into a chrysalis. I'm emerging from it holding poems, my secrets. They are the peacock secrets of a brown unicorn's butterfly mermaid queen. I've shared these feathered secrets at Quad Emra Ladies Night, ICNA Revert Sisters Conference, Wellness Center Central, Los Angeles Muslim Professionals, Masjid Al Sharif's Women's Day, and dozens of online events. This year, 5 of my poems were published in the LA Poets for Justice's Document for the People. I'm also in that, for which I'm very honored. I'm honored to share a few more poems with you, and she has lots of things that she's going to say to us tonight. Peacock Secrets, the stage is yours.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen and ladies. And wait, and I said that wrong. Ladies and gentlemen and gentle ladies and men. You know what I'm trying to say. How are you guys? This is Peacock Secrets Poetry, AKA the Peacock Secrets of a Brown Unicorn's Mermaid Butterfly Queen. So just like all of you guys, I'm putting it all together, all the elements, you know what I mean? So talking about our theme of growth and being yourself unapologetically and all that kind of stuff. I feel like that has to do mostly with poems that you may have heard already. So I apologize if you've heard them already. And hopefully there'll be some new ones too, especially if you hang in there. I will read the poem I'm working on, like as of even this minute, I'm still working on this poem. So it'll be the newest one out there, okay? So let's see, 20 minutes, right? Right, Josh? Okay, so.
Right, go for it.
Okay, so the first poem I want to read is called Iceberg in the Desert. And I'll explain what that means in a bit afterwards. Okay, let's see here, get this zoomed so that it's not just my face. And I can see you guys' comments better. Okay. And I want to get it away from me so I can see y'all. Okay, there we go. Iceberg in the desert. I treated her like an empty egg in an empty nest, arrogantly abandoned in an abundance of aridness. In an undulating desert, deserted, because I keep an iceberg's cavity where my cold heart could be. Sometimes I was as placid as an oasis when I wanted to watch her sip, or simply wanted something for nothing. And at first, she just let me. At first. But a few seasons after I'd dumped her onto that yellow fallow tundra, she transmuted simple sands into surplus glass, fashioned fragile featherless wings of forest green, glittering falsely. Shimmering, she forecast her own futuristic flight. What in the world was she thinking? We all know that I and life would never let her leave me like that. Who else would ever lend her a sip? It's hard to think that nothing to drink will allow you to think. But the oasis sat empty when I next witnessed it. The void vaster whenever I visited it ever since. Someone come look. Can't you see this vacancy in my chest cavity? This is crude, cold pressed evidence that cryogenic hearts can hurt, do break, do care, do love. Ain't no cure that can counteract that fact. Still, there's a slim chance that things will sting less once I've selected my next egg and fabricated a new enfeebled nest. Poem. That poem was me trying to, I don't want to say understand, me trying to occupy the mindset of my father for a couple of minutes. He was such a misogynist and woman user, you know. He'd roll them in as quickly as he'd roll them out, you know, and according to him, oh, it's all like, okay, because we got married. He would have these little, you know, like ceremonial marriages that wasn't on paper. This way he couldn't be legally bound for anything. But he did this like 30 times. And then I quit counting. I quit counting at like 26, and since then it's been a few years. So he's definitely up to 30. Point being that, and that's not something I generally share with people, but whatever. My point being that, you know, I understand what you guys are talking about in terms of coming from or dealing with parents with a, I don't know, just a broken parents. And so this was about my father and how he treats women. And then now that I've become an adult, how he tries or tried to manipulate and see if he could get something from me, you know, money, whatever. So I understand what the poet was saying earlier in terms of trying to, you have to mourn that individual. And I've mourned my father. I tried to hold like a little ceremony. I'm gonna have another one too, and just kind of be like hold a funeral or something. I'm just gonna have to bring out the bagpipes and let them go. So that was me trying to think it through there. And then my next one is called Dangling Heart. This is again by Peacock Secrets Poetry. Almost all of these are posted. Yeah, I think all of them are posted on Instagram. And I also use All Poetry for a lot of my poems. So some of the ones that don't make it up to Instagram just yet will be on allpoetry.com. And I've opened up my TikTok page. So make sure you check me out because I don't know what I'm doing on there. I'm too old for TikTok. Okay, here we go. So this one's called Dangling Heart. I gotta forgive, they say. I better let go, they say. I gotta give you another effing chance, they say. Say I need to unremind myself that you snatched my heart out and watched it dangle. I say, you snatched my heart out and watched it dangle. I screamed, stop it. You watched it dangle. I hollered for help. You watched it dangle. I mentioned my God-given rights. You watched it dangle. Next, you manipulated and twisted the textual truth into a noose, and you watched it dangle. Now you want another millionth chance, a public truce, you and your sorry excuse for no apology. You, center stage, aged in your stance, you extend your hand. I watch it dangle. This poem is about the person I haven't mourned. Thank you. And that's my mother. You know, she'll whip out a textbook on you and go, oh, well, it says in the holy book, honor thy parents. That's that twist in that contextual truth. And it's like, it's not right. That's not what Allah meant. I think he said something in here. I see something about the children too. Wait a minute. Wait, what's this part here about family and about respect and about giving what you want to receive. So, and being a good example, so on. So now that you've got the background of the two parents, let's put that together into, this one was a very difficult poem to write. It was so bad. The couple times I had to, try to put it on video, I couldn't do it in my house. I had to go out in the hallway to try to record this piece. And it seems to be hiding from me. Oh, here we go. It's called Lies Stashed. By Peacock Secrets, sharing the intimate peacock secrets of a brown unicorn's butterfly mermaid queen. So lies stashed. They lied to me when they told me my home was safe, that a little girl would feel safe from harm, have a safe place. They said, Umi is a better word than mommy. Said my Umi would never take a roofing shingle to my throat. That Abby is a better word than daddy, and Abby would never beat us with his martial arts training sticks. That surely Umi wouldn't do the same, but a billion times more often. But at least when Abby beat someone with his 2-inch by 4-inch wooden beam, it wasn't me. After all, Abby was so often absent, so my 12-year-old sister, she'll be all right, right? Like when TV said mothers cupped faces rather than going on the attack. And mamas don't assault you for eating their favorite bagels. Heck, that's just a snack. That Abbies don't bowl you over into the New York City gutter. Grown men looking on, frozen in horror. But I'm the one shook. It seems no one knew what to do, least of all a daughter. These men avoided addressing it altogether. Later, adults would lie, it'll get better. It didn't. So someone stuck me food to feed my siblings. Community members gave me a coat after my father kept me in the cold. New Jersey winter be damned. I have a coat now. So now snow can kiss my grits. Not that there's any in the apartment. Abby said I shop once every 2 weeks. Choose milk or yogurt. Choose jelly or syrup. Choose. What could I do? I had no choice but to hide the free lunch meat received. So soon after Abby said, choose sandwich supplies, PB&J or tuna. How I thank Allah for hidden halal turkey ham and bologna salami. Hide the lettuce, stash the little Debbies. Each sibling gets one. Each little Debbie reaches 3 girls and a boy. Little bro, don't forget your hidden chips. A secret stash. Abuse secrets stashed. And when my stash was discovered, Abby was as cool as a cucumber. Saved his hateful rage for when I was given popsicles. I should have never given them to my siblings. Should have never licked them. Should have never had my face in the path of his palm. My body in the way of his kung fu hurl. Good thing the side of the donated couch breaks falls, doesn't it? Think of better times. Think of good things. Good thing Umi can kiss away tears as well as she can sear the crescent of a belt buckle into my face. But she's absolved. It was my fault. See, she was aiming for my butt cheeks and my face cheeks got in the way. Now I have a scary scab on display. I fell. I hit my face on the doorknob. I knew all the right lies to claim their innocence. Tap into earlier experiences, innumerable incidents with increasing incidents. Fathomless fountains of pain, always drinking them before driving, always careening and screeching down memory lane. But like my grandma Brooklyn used to say, may Allah have mercy on her, as my grandma Brooklyn used to say, nay, nay, broom stray, not today. Today I rip off the Band-Aid. Today I revel in revealing the scab. tears, the scarred heart, the shattered skin. Today I unveil a broken soul and the little girl within who says, Umi and Abby, something's wrong with them. Back then I was too scared, couldn't call 911, but now adult me is ready and strong. And little me is fed up after all the decades gone. Today, little me displays my scars to the sun. Tonight, little me howls my wounds to the moon, wailing, how is it that when I stand my ground, I got knocked to the ground and I lost ground, got to get to hallowed ground. If little me tried to flee, my flight got grounded. That teenager stays grounded. So now little me grabs fistfuls of earth, pierce the ground, hug the ground, hog the ground, got to gain ground, to somehow unground my feelings from gravity, so my cries can climb to heaven. And as my howl reaches its crescendo, I behold on the night's horizon a tall Black woman. Her crown is an afro, a flutter with butterflies. She brings a brown unicorn on her left and a peacock out in front. She invites me to her right. She is my fortress. She is me. And I have arrived. Thank you. Just give me a second. Haven't done that one in a long time. And this just reminds me of, what we were talking about earlier, that you have to get yourself therapy and find healing for yourself and be your hero. And I think that one thing I would like to do, I decided this yesterday, I want to write a poem to, instead of focusing on the ingratitude in terms of it was true that I didn't get enough help from my community, but I want to write a poem, a love letter, a thank you letter to those people who did try what little they tried. In the midst of not knowing what to do, instead of doing nothing, they did something. And I want to appreciate that. And so, thank you for hanging in there with me through those three difficult topics. Well, that one difficult topic, 3 different poems. And so I want to read to you guys the poem I was working on right up until we started. Okay, this one is still under development. So I think I'm going to call it Religious Devotion. 1 second. Okay, Religious Devotion. A faux religion, a democratic fallacy of imperialism and parlor tricks, parishioners called politricians skim milk bags of skin and bones, just soulless old Black holes, proud little boys and girls who live and abide by their Bible, a shit holy scroll of power inscribed on stone tablets or capsules or powders, honestly, any drug or addiction or illegal sexual predilection. This faux religion is called Americanism. The Kama Sutra can't keep up with their backward positions. Their commandments teach them to vote in favor of whatever profitable prophets preach, like preying on impoverished people. For ages, their enslavers and sages have been passing only the best legislative bills with Benjamin Franklin's grin, legislating legal loopholes so they can screw the law. One ring on the cock-a-doodle-doo say they can rule them all. Living at large in the big house on the hill, This religion's depraved priests turn the other cheek to speak out the side of their necks or from their second faces. Lesser people better stay in their places. Only land where they let you have a dream. They are prescribing and selling sleeping pills without a Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Murdered dream weavers shot in the head. They got closeted choirs called CIA, FBI, ICE. Said martyrs don't matter, so they martyred Malik al-Shabazz. Malik means king too. Of course, we all called him Malcolm. Anyway, this cult, it's got no monks, no imams, no nuns, none. No nationwide healthcare, no nation, no care. Just demons daydreaming up our daily and nightly nightmare. American psychos screeching a lullaby. Silence of the lambs counting sheeple. Your ass will have to find a way to join your mind in prison if you go against these people. All hail our founding fathers' fastest growing religion, the religion of Americanism. And that's that piece. Thank you. I use a little anger and fire. I'd be like, so I get mine that's why I can't stand oppression. To see too much stuff. So I think that's my time. Thank you guys so much. Be sure to check me out on my link tree, Peacock Secrets Poetry. And I'll see you guys on Instagram, at least.
Nice.
Oh, wait.
Yes. On brand.
Take care.
Thank you, Peacock. Oh my God. See, so y'all get it now. Y'all see. Y'all see. Y'all who already know, now we know even more. That was chills. You ever like you take in something and it's so much, it's like I should be saying something profound and I've got nothing. Except for that last one, I was like, I would love to see Hamilton live, but before they start the play, you read that poem and then they go into the opening number. That would be dope. That would be dope. Thank you so much, Peacock. You really just blew us all the way. All right, before I torture you guys with my singing, before we pull up our last feature, I just dropped, again, I'm gonna keep doing it, the Instagram links for our features. I also want to shout out Alex Petunia is here. One Mic, One Globe is her child that I inherited, so I don't know how that works. That I adopted. There we go. Her child that I adopted. And Alex actually also just released her own book of poetry called Tending My Wild. So make sure you follow Alex and check out her book, Tending My Wild. Hello, Alex. I don't know if you want to say anything or you just want us to keep going. I know you don't necessarily always enjoy when all the attention's on you, but I'm doing it anyways. We're here.
Thank you. I appreciate you. And you're doing a phenomenal job with this mic. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Bringing up our final poetess of the evening. I will read her bio and bring her up. Elizabeth Jimenez Montelongo is a visual artist, poet, and teacher based in the San Francisco Bay Area. She has exhibited her visual artwork in galleries and museums across the United States, and her poetry is published widely. Elizabeth graduated from San Jose State University with a BFA in art and a BA in French. She is manager of Roots Artist Registry, co-editor of the first issue of Culture Counts magazine, and a member of the board of directors of Poetry Center San Jose. She is currently editor for the first issue of La Raíz magazine to be published in 2021, and is also 2021 creative ambassador of the San Jose Office of Cultural Affairs. In other words, she's got titles. She is here. Elizabeth, the stage is yours. I am so excited.
Thank you. Thank you, Josh. I am just switching to gallery view so I can still see you all. Yeah, it's been great listening to all this poetry this evening. So thank you to the features and the open mic poets that have shared so far. It's very very inspiring, and glad to be here. So I have several poems to share. I originally wasn't going to read this one because I was going to read it tomorrow in a workshop I'm doing, which you're all invited. I'll share the link later, but since, you know, like some of the poetry shared was, and I appreciate, you know, it's like very personal poems about, you know, just like personal issues. I wanted to read this one that I wrote, like just from my experience as a woman. It's about the patriarchy, and it's called I'm in Love with the Patriarchy. I confess, I'm in love with the patriarchy. I never noticed it, but suddenly I did, and realized I was hooked, too far gone. I tried to stay away. I told it no, but it just didn't listen. It just stayed, kept tempting me, kept shape-shifting, and the more I learned, the smarter it got, until I realized I saw it everywhere I turned, until I realized it was in my home, in my bed, until I realized it was in my head, so much a part of me, in my blood, my brains and bones, and I just can't scrape it off without destroying myself, because it is what I'm made of, and also, we've been so close for so long, that I confess, I'm in love. I'm in love with the patriarchy. I'm in love and I don't know what to do, when it takes as much as it wants and leaves me feeling empty. Then it hits me, just like that. I realize I know what to do. I take as much as I want. I keep a distance, scrape what I can off my brains and bones, off my blood, out of my head, get out of my bed, start looking around, start learning, start shape-shifting, start listening. I say, stay away. I'm off the hook, but the patriarchy can't live without me, I noticed. Right, hope you like that one. My next one, I think if I read it once, it was a long time ago. I wrote it early in the pandemic. It's about poverty, when, you know, that was like just a thing on a lot of people's mind, was on my mind. But it's called Poverty is Relative. Poverty is relative. Compared to that guy a few cities away in a mansion with a pool, I am poor. Compared to the family a few counties over that has to live in a car in the school parking lot, I am rich. Poverty is relative, but it is also like a relative that arrives unexpectedly, staying longer than you hope, and you have to make room and take into account the opinions on your bank account, food budget, and rent. And after leaving, you keep living with what was left behind. Poverty is like a relative, and it is also relatable. I too have collected loose dollars and change to pay for gas to get to work. I too have rationed my food to make sure it lasted until the next paycheck. I too have emptied some retirement accounts left behind from old jobs so I could pay the rent. I too have used a credit card. I too have used a credit card. Poverty is relatable, but it is also a relationship. It is like one of those relationships where you give, but it just takes, where you work on it, but that's just never good enough. One of those relationships that leaves your head aching, heart aching, and an empty spot in your life. One of those relationships that changes your life, changes you forever. And when you finally get over it, you're stronger. Someone told me poverty is related to violence. It hits you mentally first, then emotionally, then in the gut. It will penetrate your life forcefully, grow up your savings, your stash of cash, might fondle your paychecks if you don't watch out. Poverty is relative because it can get us all in different ways. Poverty can sometimes cause a relative to start drinking. Poverty is relatable when you've even brushed close to it in passing. Poverty can strain relationships. Poverty is violence, but there are many victims and it's hard to pinpoint the perpetrators. Almost impossible to persecute the multitude of perpetrators, and when accused before a court of peers, they will deny it and blame the victim, saying, "What were you wearing when you became poor? What color skin? What kinds of degrees and other papers? Had you been drinking? Had you been drinking water from the Rio Grande? What were you doing out so late? What were you doing in the dark about money management? It must be genetic. You must be predisposed. You must be uncivilized, savages. But most of all, you could have done more, done better, worked harder. because they did, and they are blessed with everything. Only an empty spot in their chest. What a privilege not to empathize. Poverty is a violence we must always confront. Poverty is a relationship we must learn to balance. Poverty is relatable, and I too have been there. Poverty is a relative, and we must be prepared for a visit. Poverty is relative, and if we can relate, we can confront it together. Okay. Thank you. The next poem I have is, it is I,
a wall and a poster. I'm sorry.
Thank you. All right. It is I, the immigrant. It is I, the immigrant, arrived on the side of the continent 13,000 years ago, returned over 3 decades ago. One cell smuggled in my mother's ovary as she crossed the border. It is I, the immigrant, who took your spot at that school, paid with the taxes taken from my parents' paychecks, paid with the property taxes charged quietly in the rent bills. It is I, the immigrant, who took your spot at that university, who swiped the degrees, who took off with the debt of education for the opportunity to snatch up the better underpaid jobs. It is I, the immigrant, who took your language, added it to her own, who took back her native language because words are more powerful than spilled blood. It is I, the immigrant, unrepentant breeder of 7 sons who commit the crimes of demanding justice, murdering indifference, trafficking awareness. It is I, the immigrant, returning home. Okay. All right, this is one I haven't shared very much. But I really like it, so I wanted to share it with you today. I'll give it a name. Give it a name, the Trail of Tears. Give it a name, the Tuskegee Experiment. This will never happen again. Give it a name, Project Macultra. Give it a name, Bioterror Science on Guatemala. Give it a name, plutonium poisoning, prenatal vitamins. This doesn't happen anymore. Give it a name, Operation Paperclip. Give it a name, forced sterilization of brown women. Give it a name, over-radiation therapy experiments. This won't happen again, but it did, and it does. Apologies are offered. But these things never happen anymore. It's all in the past, until it happens again. Give it a name, say its name, because the names of the victims are too many to list. Give it a name, say its name. I chastise you in the name of the Father and the Son of my unborn child. Take down your graven images. Do not make images of yourselves, putting yourselves on a pedestal, an ever-changing image. Change it. Melt that gold you kneel before, but don't give it to the poor to make their own graven images. Bury it in the ground next to the bodies that die of hunger and leave it there. Soon the hungry will rise as the gold and silver is eaten by worms to fertilize the thrones of those who inherit the mounds of dirt. Grab that camel and shove it backward in time through the expanded eye of a needle. Enough space for the packs of riches I am sending back from the vaults to the fallen warriors. Do not pray before the false idols that lurk laughing behind a mask of stripes and a starry night. If you tear back that veil, you will see your own face. I hope you like it. Sometimes I don't know, I just like lines just come to me and I just go with it, and I tend to like those poems the best. So hope you liked it. My next one is kind of bilingual, some Spanish in it. So I hope you enjoy it, and if you don't happen to understand some of the words, I hope you can feel them come across. Tacos de lenguas. Tacos de lengua you force-fed me, and now I can waggle my double-edged tongue right back, a flinty, sparky weapon, electric currents right into my pen, writing to you words held in for 500 years, from the genes in my blood to the genes that spill my blood. Y aquí en este banquete de tacos y lenguas y tacos de lengua, una gran reunión de pedernal, fuego, sangre y historia. Here I speak words that burn, that spark, fires that spread, fires that burn. bonfires, fires that burn out, fires that leave ashes, ashes to cover my body in, ashes to weep in, creating rivers of ink that tattoo the body, that tattoo the soul. Ashes to fertilize the roots, roots and ashes, find other roots, roots that move, roots that shake, roots that rattle the ground. A ground of ashes under which lie bones, bones that won't lie still. I saw them rise and connect. I saw the skeleton come together. Dancing skeleton, dancing with the corn plant, Madre Maíz, and they neither had roots. Holding hands, no triangle, a circle. Cycling, spinning, up into the air. Chose to stay here, return to earth. Feet on the ground, roots in the earth, roots in the ashes, on the bones that won't lie still. Rising from the ashes, rise from the ashes. I rose from the ashes, ashes to ashes, ashes on my forehead, ashes in a cross burned to ashes. They painted on my nopal, and I'm going to strike this lengua on another. Ay, que chispa, ashes, ashes, but I refuse to fall down, even when I'm 6 feet underground. And mira como le hago. I am a lengua that you label me with. I am my thoughts that I nodded to. I am the palabras you all shoved in my mouth, but I spit them out in a different order. And I order them to emerge, spill in chispas, run in ashes and tears. And from there, where my 2 brown feet are planted, emerges a Quetzali phoenix with a long coiled body that rises into the air. Feathers, maíz, and white flowers, que llueva, into rivers and lakes and underground, into oceans and humidity. Sips of lágrimas to lágrimas, tears to tears, que llueva, and may the plants grow strong. Thank you. I have, let me see. All right, I'll read a short one. It's called Caldo de Pollo Cures, about chicken soup. And I added this little note once I just had this thought that I posted on Facebook. Time heals all wounds, but caldo de pollo works much faster. So that's for chicken soup. I transform plants and all their dismembered little pieces, take their roots, stems, leaves, petals, even their seeds, place them in my largest olla full of water. I turn up the fire, start the steam of chemical reactions in my magic cauldron. With a sprinkle of herbs, a dash of spices, brewing caldo de pollo cures, a potion con arroz that gives long life. That's my shortest poem ever. And all right, so I'll share this one, and then if I'm out of time, that's fine. This one's called Reclaiming. You came here conquering, claiming to suck out my brain, steal my tongue, rip out my heart. Well, take this brain, take a bite of this taco de sesos. See, I still have my words, and your heart fell out instead. When you tried to replace my mind with a treasure map of lies, replace my tongue with a sterile plastic prosthesis, break my heart and spirit to use as mortar for your empire. I took my own brain out to save it from your grasp. With my silver pen, I picked out all the pendejadas you put there, and I filled in the cracks with the mysteries and clues written in stone, touching them up with my brush, red and black ink, blood and words. I'm serving you the leftovers on a silver platter. You thought I'd crave your treasure, and see the treasures I've created when I finally burned your map, because I didn't want your treasure. Watch as my tongue splits into 2, 3, 4, and the plastic becomes flesh. Behold my heartbeat between your bricks as the walls start to crumble. I sent myself back in time on the wings of Eka to the wind that blows through the mouths of flesh returned to life, whispers of the ancestors speaking sparks into tomorrow. I took a long deep breath, hear the old words, hear the old hearts beat, hear the hearts crumble concrete as they grow, and now I know. And my tongue shoots the sparks of life into the 4 corners. From below to above, tongues of fire burn lies, and the word becomes truth, becomes flesh. I picked up your heart when it fell out of your chest. As you abused my brain and tongue, I dusted it off. It was dry and hard, but you took it, crushed it, spit on it to hold your bricks for a wall around my heart beating hard, regenerating strength on its way back to my chest. Behold my heartbeat at the space between your bricks. Your walls crumble as it departs, leaving the dust to settle in the flood of red and black ink that spills from the tacos de sesos, that spills from this brain as you take a bite. I think that's about it. Or do I have like 2 minutes?
Yeah. You got like 4 minutes.
Okay. And I know we're almost at 9. This one's like, it's a little bit longer than that one, but won't be too long. All right, this one's about La Llorona. If you haven't heard, it's a story about a woman who they say drowned her children, and then she like cries and scare kids with the story. And there's different versions of it, like, you know, different interpretations. But this is my my poem about La Llorona, and it's called Ay mis hijos, because that's what she cries, like, oh my children. So Ay mis hijos. And this one I dedicated it to for the 50th anniversary of the Chicano moratorium in Los Angeles, in memory of the Chicano people who sacrificed, risked, and lost their lives for us to be where we are today. So just on my mind, because a lot of different people that have come together historically have just, you know, helped change things for a lot of us, where we would be in a very different place otherwise. All right. Sometimes La Llorona screams in my ear, ay, mis hijos. And I remember what they did to the children, the children, the children, the sacred children, heirs to the power of the Great Spirit, the ones who became one with the quiet mountains and the violent earthquakes, with the ocean breeze and the swirl of hurricanes, with gentle streams and fierce rainstorms, with the glow of the sun and the bolts of lightning. Ay, mis hijos. Sometimes La Llorona screams in my brain, ay, mis hijos. And I see the evil, a violent quake of greed, a rainstorm of sorrow, a hurricane from across the sea, piercing thunder and sharp ends. I know the price of wealth and power. Ay, mis hijos. Sometimes La Llorona screams in my heart, ay, mis hijos. And I feel the sorrow and the sharp ends recovering from the quake of greed, from the desire of the bait of the demon. Ay, mis hijos. La Llorona that screams, ay, mis hijos. She wants her children, my ancestors, her children, my diaspora of primos, her children, my family, her children, me, her children, mine. Because La Llorona is my blood, not a ghost, not a tale. La Llorona wants her children. Ay, mis hijos. She calls us back from the far reaches of the other world, from the farther reaches of this smoky world, calls us to journey to the underworld, challenges us to make it back alive, more alive than we've been in centuries, more alive than the day we were born, more alive than her screams. Ay, mis hijos. She screams and I listen. Ay, mis hijos. Echoes in my ears, in my brain, in my heart. Echoes back in time through my blood, and my blood answers with words that gush from my wounds, and my heart answers with my sorrow, and my brain deciphers the unspoken codes, and my ears hear the message in between. Ay, mis hijos. And the hijos answer, and sometimes it looks like art and poetry, like flower and song, in Xochitl, in Cuicat, and sometimes it looks like comunidad y cultura, and sometimes it looks like me being angry, and sometimes it looks like lightning that splits the sky to make dead hearts beat. And sometimes it looks like a rainstorm that floods with emotions that topple the dams of denial. And sometimes it looks like the hurricane and its very quiet eye. And sometimes it looks like the earth shaking, dusting off the walls and barriers that we created, because we are all one with the Great Spirit, heirs to the power, the sacred children. Children, children, do you remember? Ay, mis hijos. Thank you so much for listening to my work.
Ooh, yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Please, if you have links or to anything, please drop in the chat. I'll leave it.
There's some. Thank you. Thank you, Josh, and thanks, Los Angeles Poet Society.
Of course. Oh, my goodness. Wow. Wow. thank you to everyone. I just want to say, you can take it outside of religious terms. The point of church is to be a place of refuge and safety in the hands of spirit. And tonight we had church. This was a lot of safety in the hands of spirit, and just like I was ready, obviously, because I put it all together, but at the same time, I wasn't ready at all. Including the open micers. Like there was no drop off. We just had an amazing night. Thank you all to my features. Thank you, Alex, again for even creating this so we can have this space to share. Thank you for my open micers. Please follow everyone that read. We support each other. Like I said earlier, being an independent artist, don't pay much. So we keep each other going. We keep each other sustained and able to access places that, people aren't giving us opportunities, but collectively we can create our own. So thank you all. And I will see you next month for another One Mic, One Globe. I'll leave it open just a little bit in case you want to find people's information, follow them, send some quick DMs. But otherwise, thank you. I hope everyone has a great night.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Josh.
You're very welcome.
Ready. Beautiful night, Josh.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. See me over here doing the most.
On brand.
I had to go buy this at the store. Oh, it's good seeing all you guys.
This is beautiful. This is gorgeous. All right, everyone. I will see you next time. Take care.